halfback number 7, Caleb Smith. The halfback number 2, Oscar Blair. The fullback number 10, Nick DeCaney. And the quarterback of your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams, number 14, Marcus Payne. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to please rise and face the flag located just to the right of the scoreboard for the play of today's national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jamesville-DeWitt Central High School here in DeWitt, New York. Sam Gelfand, the voice of the Red Rams, alongside my broadcast partner Tyler Aitken here, bringing you this contest between the visiting Auburn Maroons and your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. Football is back, and we are so excited to be bringing it to you today.
It's going to be a great game here today. You see 14, number 14 from Jamesville-DeWitt, captain, and quarterback for the Red Rams, Marcus Payne, heading to the center of the field for the coin flip.
Alongside Troy Cherney of Auburn, their starting quarterback as well. And of course, they're going to be two to keep a watch on all day today. But first, let's go to today's players on a rampage.
So first we got quarterback Marcus Payne. He's a senior. He also plays free safety on defense, plays two ways. 6'1", 175 pounds. Made the All-League second team in 2019 and had a game with 2 touchdowns on 49 carries. They are not afraid to pound the ball with Marcus Payne. Great vision, very slippery. We saw in the scrimmage last week he is hard to bring down on a tackle. So he will be going to Washington and Lee University next year. He's got a great future ahead of him.
And, of course, on Auburn, he is countered by Connor Mahonick, the senior tight end and defensive lineman, currently leading all of Section 3, regardless of class, in sacks. He had 3 in his first game, also 14th in tackles overall with 8. A Syracuse.com star of the week last week. 2019 all-section first team, and just to add insult to injury, 9 yards per catch on the tight end front. He is 6'4", 225. He is a Terminator on defense, and the offensive line is going to have their work cut out for him. We're awaiting the results of the coin toss, but we are just about ready to get underway, and we thank you so much that you're joining us here live on JDTV. This is going to be exciting. Both the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams and the Auburn Maroons 1-0 after one game each. The one problem with two undefeated teams playing is that only one can remain that way.
Looks like JD will be receiving the ball to start off the game, so we're going to get to see Marcus Payne and see what Coach Ormond wants to do with him, what the game plan is going to be.
Indeed, Auburn will be kicking off. So we are all set and ready to go. The kicker for Auburn is number 22, Elijah Benson, the 6'1" sophomore. Whistle blows and football is back. It's a line drive. Scooped up by Jamesville-DeWitt at around the 20-yard line. And we're already seeing Oscar Blair do what he does best, takes it to the 32 or 33.
Kickoff return by number 2, Oscar Blair.
Mr. Goodson doing the PA announcements today. He's really getting into it. John Goodson, our athletic director here at Jamesville-DeWitt. So 1st and 10 on the 34 for the Red Rams to start off this game. So interestingly, it is not Marcus Payne, but Cade Caton who takes the first snap. Gets hit pretty quickly, and that is an incomplete pass. But Cade Caton, the freshman, getting the first snap.
We saw this a little bit in a scrimmage last week. It seems like Jamesville-DeWitt is going to go to Marcus as well as Cade. Marcus, a very talented runner, but Cade can absolutely sling the ball. An issue he'll face all day is that defensive line from Auburn is absolutely vicious, and they'll be putting pressure on him all day.
And, of course, you have to imagine there is an element of pressure when you are a freshman starting quarterback. As the handoff goes to Nick DeCann, he fights for a few yards. He's going to get up to about the 36.
That offensive line from the Red Rams, they're going to have to try very hard today because they're outsized. The average player on Auburn is 20 pounds heavier than the average player on JD. They've got their work cut out for them today.
It is 3rd and 8 on the 36-yard line for the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams, hoping not to go 3 and out in their first drive. That's always a demoralizer of sorts, going 3 and out on your first time with the ball. That first possession could be so instrumental in how you play for the rest of the game.
Football is such a momentum-based sport, so Jamesville-DeWitt really looking for a first down here.
Caton lined up in the shotgun. Drops back, under pressure, shakes, and he just has to throw it away.
And you saw number 15, Jack Pidleychak from Auburn, almost picking that off. Great hustle play by him.
So the Red Rams go 3 and out.
There is a flag on the ground, though. They might have called intentional grounding there. They did call intentional grounding. That will send Jamesville-DeWitt back even further.
Not the greatest of starts for the Red Rams, but not something that couldn't be completely unexpected. The Auburn Maroons ranked the number 2 team in Section 3 Class A by Syracuse.com. So the Red Rams certainly have their work cut out for them as the punt sails into the air, will cross the 50-yard line. Red Rams attempt to fall on it. The Maroons should take over somewhere around the 46.
Definitely a solid punt from Jamesville-DeWitt. Obviously not ideal with how far back they were, but they're making the best out of what they have.
Troy Cherney, the quarterback for the Maroons, Another player to watch out for, Syracuse.com star of the week. In the first game, he was 10 for 15 with 188 yards, as well as taking 10 carries himself for 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, didn't throw an interception. Training will start with a handoff and get some solid yardage. Second and 4, it will be spotted.
I was talking to an Auburn coach before the game, and he did say that they're not afraid to go to their fullback often on running plays. So you'll see them handing it off to that first tailback coming out of the backfield quite a bit.
The Auburn Maroons, known for their offensive onslaught, lined up in the I. Another handoff to the fullback. Should be enough for a first down. Indeed, they're going to move the chains. Elijah Benson with the carry, who also is their kicker. Not often you see someone pulling double duty like that.
In high school football, you'll see people pulling double and sometimes even triple duty. It's every man on the field, all hands on deck.
Well, I meant more in both offensive and special teams.
Absolutely, you're right.
First and 10 on the 43. Another handoff to Benson. Benson going right. And it looks like it's Jamison McLaughlin, the inside linebacker, who started that hit to eventually bring him to the ground.
Jamesville-DeWitt is still really struggling to make any tackles, though. If they're able to get 7 yards on every play, they're going to be in the end zone very soon.
And this is exactly where we were talking about the size difference is going to come into play. The Auburn Maroons have 22 pounds on average compared to the average Jamesville-DeWitt player, and 1 inch of height as well. You see it on your screen right there in our patented JDTV info bar. Once again, coming out on the I, Cherney. Another handoff to the fullback. Able to break through. And once again, another first down for the Auburn Maroons.
In football, you really want to feed the hot hand, and Benson just seems to be able to slice through that defensive front from the Red Rams, so they have no reason to go away from that until Jamesville-DeWitt can stop it.
I mean, it is simple physics when you're talking about the size difference, as Benson is 230 pounds at 6'1". The greater run-up he gets from being the fullback farther back in the I lineup, he's able to generate more momentum, therefore requires more stopping power. Pay attention to school, kids, as there's a fake handoff to Benson, this time throwing on the run. It is not a completion. Incomplete pass intended for number 33. 88. Can't see the numbers. 88 being Connor Mahoonick, who we talked about earlier. Did his best to bring that one down. I knew something was wrong. I was like, there's no 33 on here. Oh, no, wait, there is. Jeremiah Phillips. Well, you see, I got wrong again. Second and 10 for the Maroons. This time it's a pitch. And Benson tearing to his left. It's going to count as a touchdown. And the Maroons are already on the board. It's 6-0.
If you just watch how Benson carries the ball, he holds it so securely, there's no chance of him fumbling it, and he just runs with such power that it's so difficult to bring him down. Even at the end there, the Red Ram tacklers weren't able to bring him down.
Connor Benson rolling to his left, and, well, he just outpaced the Red Rams. Clean and simple. 8:14 on the clock. It is 6-0, lining up for the extra point. They're going for 2. Cherney chucking it, and the 2-point conversion is good. Deshaun Strachan bringing it down. Let's take one more look at it. Oh, we missed it. Well, it's our first football game of the season. We're trying. It is 8-0. The Maroons taking the lead over the Red Rams. Not the start the Red Rams wanted today. Lining up for the kick, once again, Sam Gelfand and Tyler Aitken bringing you this contest here. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the 66th season in Jamesville-DeWitt history. They are 3-18, 2-17, and 9 overall ever since 1955, but since 2000, they are 67 and 99. Another frozen rope of a kickoff. And the Red Rams will let that one go out of bounds.
Great heads-up play by the Rams to let that ball go out of bounds. You saw they thought about picking it up, but they knew if it went out of bounds, they're going to get the ball up much further and get better field position. So,
give
great smarts.
Credit to Dante Santos there. And it's 1st and 10, spotted on the 35. It looks like they're lining up with Marcus Payne this time, after giving Cade Caton the start. In fact, we've got some fast facts about Marcus Payne that we can share with you. Payne, actually born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, he's been playing football since the age of 7. He's a member of student government and at Washington and Lee University intends to be a computer science major. As the first handoff doesn't get too much yardage.
When Marcus is in, the Red Rams typically run that option offense where Marcus can hand it off, toss it to another back, or take it himself. That first time he took it himself, only got a few yards.
Marcus Payne, he was forced into this position. Last year, Ryan Vespi, the starting quarterback, broke his collarbone in Week 2 against East Syracuse Manoas. There's a false start. Chalk that one up to number 80, if my corrected but not corrected enough vision is correct. You can probably see clearer at home, honestly.
They actually called encroachment on the defense there, not a false start. So that'll be...
Works out in the Red Rams' favor.
Absolutely. It'll be a little bit of a lucky break for the Rams, the first one they've had all day.
But as I was saying, Marcus Payne forced into the quarterback role after Ryan Vespi broke his collarbone. There's a quick handoff, and immediately the Auburn Maroons swarming him like an angry and hungry pack of sharks.
And yet after that penalty, there's still only 1 yard to go on 3rd down. So totally manageable distance for the Red Rams to get their first down of the day.
3rd and 1 for the Red Rams. So to finish the thought, Payne had to step up in a difficult situation last year, and he has really flourished in the role. Becoming kind of an archetypical running quarterback, and that's going to be 1st down and more.
I think Payne also has that sort of leadership quality you want out of your quarterback. You saw him before the game leading stretches, his experience with student government. He just has that leadership mentality that you need as the person calling the plays, taking the snaps, and deciding what to do in a snap of a finger.
He certainly has the team rallying around him. Another handoff. Attempts to break a couple of tackles.
And that was a fantastic tackle there by number 14 from Auburn.
Makai Bailey. Head coach Dave Moskow complimented him after the last game for his relentless play. He had 13 tackles That is the most in all of Section 3 in Week 1. And now Payne will get a couple of more yards, third and good 6 or 7. Third and 7, they will rule it.
I know you typically don't see it when Marcus is in. Typically you'll see it when Caton is in, but I think you might see a pass here. They might go a screen pass to the outside to try to look for some extra yardage. That's something they typically do on 3rd and long. We saw it a lot in the scrimmage a few weeks ago.
In 2019, Payne only tried to throw 17 times, successful in 7 of those attempts. Rolls to his right, throws on the run, 2 off target and 2 off balance. Pass intended for Trent Hughes. 4th and 7. That's not 2 3-and-outs, but 2 quick stops by the Auburn Maroons in a row. Their defense is overwhelming the Red Rams so far.
And with the ball being snapped at the 50-yard line, they really need to capitalize and pinch Auburn down inside the red zone here, inside the 20-yard line.
There goes the punt.
A little too high and a little too far to the left. Definitely not the ideal situation for the Rams. They really needed Auburn to get a little bit worse field position this time, but it seems as though the ball is going to be snapped at around the 34-yard line.
So Auburn takes over at the 34-yard line. Another handoff. And guess who it is? It's Benson, who continues to carve a path through the Red Rams.
That was still an impressive tackle by Caleb Smith, who is about 60 pounds lighter than Benson, but still took him down with a lot of force there. Unfortunately, he's playing so far back that was after about 14 yards already.
With under 5 minutes left in the first quarter, it is still 8-0, the Maroons leading over the Red Rams. And Troy Cherney is just, well, he's enjoying himself out there for sure. Another handoff. Quick moves by number 33. Fumble recovered by Brendan Koberger, and the Red Rams get it back.
That was fantastic tackling by the Red Rams. I couldn't see the number, but there were about 3 or 4 defenders who absolutely swarmed the ball immediately after. Great job punching the football out and falling on it right away.
So the Red Rams get it back. They get a chance of redemption. And Brendan Koberger is certainly going to earn some accolades back on the sidelines. That's going to have to wait. He's back out as a wide receiver. Snap to Caton. Run up the middle. And Nick DeCaney does everything he can. Everything he can was still only 2 yards, though. It's 2nd and 8. The Red Rams' field position could be more optimal. Especially with someone like Mahunick, you have to be thinking safety in the back of your mind.
Absolutely. They don't want Caton to drop too far back on this play here. Put them in risk.
Caton looking for a pass. It is intercepted and taken to the end zone by Deshaun Strachan.
You got the replay? And I think Caton just got a little too excited there, looked through his options, and he was on his 3rd option of a receiver and threw it to him without looking for the defender. And when you're that close to the end zone, it's an easy touchdown.
14-0. In just the first quarter, the Maroons in danger of running away with it.
In a situation like this where they were already down by 8 points, Jamesville-DeWitt needs to take a better opportunity, or take a better advantage of their opportunities to score. They got a lucky break recovering a fumble and immediately turned it back over for points.
And they're going for two one more time. Troy Cherney gets the snap, the handoff, will power through. Charging through is number 30, Davari Agee. 5'10", 260. Bit of a Refrigerator Perry moment. 16-0.
Now the Red Rams are going to get the ball back and probably even more desperate than they were before, looking to score points and avoid mistakes.
Do you think the desperation might be what the Red Rams need right now?
No, I think the natural instinct is going to be react like that. We'll see if they're going to keep their composure. I think playing calm and not rushing is the most important part, because rushing on that last play is exactly what put 8 more points on the board for the Maroons.
Of course, the Red Rams still this is their comeback season. They were in developmental last year. It's been 2 years since they've won more than one game a season. They're really looking to get back on the winning track, and this is a tough test for them. Another line drive kick, this time rolls right around the 29-28 yard line.
But it doesn't matter because it went out of bounds, so Jamesville-DeWitt will take it up at the 35 again.
Another 1st and 10 for Jamesville-DeWitt. It has more or less been the Elijah Benson show today.
He's been phenomenal. Absolutely great speed, great vision, great strength. I haven't seen a single flaw in his game today other than kicking the ball out of bounds a few times.
Well, he's certainly been getting the reps in today. They'll go with Payne again at quarterback. High snap, handoff. The Red Rams have been running it up the middle, but they just haven't had any success there.
It's difficult because they're outsized so much, but I think this shows the level of trust Ormond has in the offensive line to get it together, because as much size and strength as Auburn has, technique always plays a role on that offensive and defensive line. So we'll see what happens.
But you have to be wondering, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, there are 11 different track and field runners on this Jamesville-DeWitt team. You'd think they might want to try to use some speed, and there it is in play. It's Nick DeCaney, track star for the Red Rams, who gets plenty of yardage. Came out of the gate swinging. And a 1st down for Jamesville-DeWitt. Nick DeCaney found the light at the end of the tunnel, and he just kept going.
That's exactly the kind of boost the Red Rams needed. It wasn't a risky play. It was a safe run like they've been doing the whole game. The difference was that they were just able to execute.
Sometimes that's all you got to do. 1st and 10, 2:45 left in the first quarter. Another handoff to DeCaney, this time stuffed for negative yardage.
And I think what we're seeing with the quarterback situation here is that Marcus Payne will get a drive, and then Cade Caton will get a drive. They've been going back and forth all day. It'll be interesting to see if that possible breaking up of rhythm will impact the other players at all. Two very different styles of play when they're in the game.
Well, it might also break up the defense, is the hope and consideration, as Payne will take it himself, a nice little fake. You know, we were talking about the track and field success of the Red Rams. Nick DeCaney, Caleb Smith, and Sam Smith, the three of them combined at 74 points, more than 6 entire teams in Section 3 Class A. No wonder they took home the indoor track championship.
DeCaney, Caleb Smith, and Sam Smith all involved in sprinting and jumping events, so definitely putting their athleticism on display in another sport as well.
And Payne takes it himself once again. It looks like he lost his balance on the fake handoff.
And you're going to see them go for it on 4th down here. It's too far into the Maroons' territory to punt it. They're not quite close enough to kick it, so they're going to go for it on 4th and 4.
Of course, the kicker, Ethan Weiss, is 1 for 1 on field goals this season. He was 8 for 10 on extra points last year, so certainly one of the more reliable kickers in Section 3 Class A. Absolutely,
but a 48-yard field goal in conditions like this is probably a bit too far for any high school kicker.
Lined up with 2 backs, they give it to DeCaney, who breaks through. They're going to give it to him. The Red Rams playing pickup sticks on the sidelines, another first down. And now the Red Rams are starting to find a little bit of a rhythm. Problem is, 45 seconds left in the first quarter. That rhythm could be disrupted. This is where clock management comes into play. Another high snap. Payne tries to take it himself, taken from behind.
I think they'll just be happy to get into the second quarter with no more mistakes because the field position won't change, the down won't change. Going into the second quarter might be a little bit of a break for them as well as a break for the defense, but I think they'll take what they can get. They might get one more playoff here, but the ball will be in the same spot, so they're not too worried about it.
That was Tremont Daniels, the senior, on the tackle. He had 6 in the first game. 4 seconds on the clock. They're going to try to wind it out, or just not take that snap at all. That is the end of the first quarter. The Auburn Maroons lead 16-0, but the Red Rams just starting to get something going. The Red Rams traditionally a second half team.
I think what we saw out of Nick DeCaney at the end of that first quarter shows a little bit of hope for them. They have runners, they have speed. They just need to execute the play and make sure they're getting the blocking. And the offensive line has been getting better all game, so if they can keep improving, they'll be in a great spot.
Might as well talk a little bit about Nick DeCaney, who has been the focal point of the Red Rams offense so far. He runs indoor and outdoor track, like you said, jumping and sprinting events. He is a drummer in his spare time, as most of his family is, actually. Both of his parents are professors at Syracuse University, teaching percussion, actually, and, of course, a fellow member of the JDTV roster, so he is by far our favorite player on the Red Rams squad.
And obviously the athleticism runs in the family. His older brother, probably the best diver in Jamesville-DeWitt history.
Not probably, definitely.
Definitely the best diver in Jamesville-DeWitt history, owning multiple records and is now a Division I diver at St. Bonaventure.
So the DeCaney family, certainly a legacy left here at Jamesville-DeWitt, and Nick trying to carve out a path of his own as he has been carving paths through the Maroons defense all day so far. We're about ready to start the second quarter. 2nd and 11 on the 27-yard line as we flip directions. Got 70 people watching, and we thank each and every one of you here.
We remind you, if you have anything to add, any perspectives, any hot takes or opinions, the comment section is open down below, so please feel free to type that in, and if it's good or interesting enough, we might even read it aloud on air.
Of course, we have it right in front of us, and we do enjoy the hot takes. Those are the best ones. So the Red Rams line up 2nd and 11. Run up the middle, nothing doing.
Seemed like DeCaney lost his footing there, and the defenders were right there to fall on top of him.
Looks like there might be a slight injury.
75, Hayden Fleet. Seems a little bit shaken up. Had to take a knee, but right back out there is Braden McVicker to take his place.
Fleet, the freshman, at 5'11", 285, played modified. It's quite a jump to go from modified straight to varsity.
Well, with there not being a JV team for Jamesville-DeWitt this year, a lot of younger players thrown right into action on the varsity field.
Payne still lined up at quarterback. 2 backs behind him. Handoff to DeCaney. Spinning. Keep spinning. Finally brought down.
And 4th and 10 is a tall order for the Red Rams, but again, Too far for a field goal, too close for a punt. It's an awkward field position for them. 10 yards, they really need to make the most of this.
They're going to send Oscar Blair out and keep Marcus Payne out there. Blair replacing Carter King, the 2019 All-SCAC second-team selection. One minute down in the second quarter.
There's a 4 wide receiver set up here for the Rams. You don't typically see that with them.
In motion, Payne sends it deep and off the hands of Caleb Smith.
That was a beautiful throw by Payne there. Put it right where it needed to. A very...
Turn the mic off.
Might have turned the mic off there on accident, but that was a beautiful throw there by Payne. Very difficult pass there for Caleb to make, but a very difficult reception for him to make. Unfortunate situation, but a little bit of hope on that offensive firepower on that drive in general.
And a little bit of hope that it was a good targeting job by Marcus Payne as well, who, as we know, is not traditionally a passing quarterback. Being able to mix up the game plan a little bit, always a good idea.
I think the Red Rams go to him and have him run more simply because that's what he's amazing at, but he can certainly throw the ball too, and he's shown he has a cannon for an arm when he needs to.
And speaking of cannon for an arm, it's not used here, but Cherney certainly possesses one as well. Running play will make it second, and let's see what they say. 2nd and 4, the official scorekeepers say. Great to see we've got some fans back in the stands. Of course, strict cap of 50% capacity. All players are allowed to bring 2 guests. They get 2 passes, but if you don't have a pass, you can't get in. And of course, masks and social distancing enforced here at all times. We'll talk about our safety measures a little bit later, probably in the second half. Cherney, 7 seconds to work with on the play clock. Hand off to Benson, who breaks about 3 tackles. Gets a first down and then some. Muhammad Hajari saying we need to have Max McCall on more snaps. Completely agree. 2 varsity soccer players supporting each other. McCall, the punter for the Red Rams, as you often see that crossover between soccer and football players, usually in the kicking and punting positions.
Someone asking who scored for Auburn. On a running play, Benson scored for their offense, and then there was actually a pick 6 by number 8, who is Deshaun Strachan. So those were the 2 scores for the Maroons.
Cherney fakes the handoff, throws on the run to the left, interception! Ryan Cluis interdicts the pass, confiscates some evidence. You cannot escape that long arm of the law.
You saw they were forced under pressure there. It was a difficult pass for Cherney to make. He kind of forced it up there, and Cluis took advantage of the situation, snatched the ball right out of the air.
Ryan Cluis, you know, he's a filmmaker in his free time, and that was a cinematically perfect interception. Fit for the silver screen. Payne takes a snap, throws on the run. Reception is complete. A first down, and once again, then some. This time for Carter King. Take another look at it. Payne comfortable throwing on the run under pressure. King, no one there for him.
And I think even though they didn't make that reception on the last possession where there was a potential touchdown pass to Caleb Smith, I think that gave the coaches a little bit more confidence to go to Marcus as a thrower as well. And you saw that on that play again. Dime to Carter King and another first down.
And now there's a timeout taken on the field. Believed by Jamesville-DeWitt. At least I think their coach was the first on the field, so makes sense. Well, we got you here. Might as well talk a little bit about our safety precautions, as we alluded to. Masks on at all times on the field if you can help it. Benches have been extended. No hugs, high fives, or handshakes allowed. Everyone's temperature is checked as soon as they show up. Talked about the pass system, the 50% capacity. Jamesville-DeWitt is only playing other teams that regularly test their players to make sure that there's as little chance as possible that COVID could spread between these two teams. Of course, there's no playoffs, and we're doing this with masks on. It is 1st and 10 on the 28 for Jamesville-DeWitt as play will resume. Handoff from Payne to DeCaney. Taken down to the suplex. Get about 4 or 5 yards out of that.
Their offensive line has been doing better and better as the game has gone on. I think you're seeing a little bit better vision with them finding where they want to make their blocks, and they're executing on them better. They're remaining strong, and they're playing a little bit less scared of that defensive line.
And the Red Rams opting to keep lining up in this split backs formation for the most part. Not here, that's the shotgun. And DeCaney takes it up the middle. 3rd down now.
But for the past several plays, they've been lining up with 4 wide receivers, something they typically don't do, but that's spreading out the defense, which is opening up that middle lane for the running backs to dart through. If there are 4 defensive backs that have to spread out to guard those receivers, then there's going to be a lot more room in the middle to operate.
So it seems instead of attempting outside runs and letting the speed take its toll, the Red Rams instead attempting to part the Red Sea, if you will. Chag Sameach, by the way, as we're almost done with Passover. Second down now for DeCaney. DeCaney's really having himself a career game today. By the way, DeCaney, the sole fullback on the Red Rams, last year at 41 attempts for 166 yards, an average of 4 yards per carry, because they use him for that inside runner. Split backs once again. It's DeCaney. He only got a couple of steps out, so a gain of about 2. It's 3rd and 3.
And he's proven he can get 3 or 4 yards per carry if he's really pushing there, but still, every few plays, Auburn's able to break into that backfield and stop the play early.
DeCaney 6'2", 185, so he's got more of the physical presence, probably why they keep going to him. They'll go one more time. This time he goes a little bit to the left, reaching out to try to get that extra yardage. It's not going to prevent the 4th down situation.
He did a really good job extending the ball out at the end of the play to try to reach that 1st down marker, and was about half a foot short, maybe 1 foot.
So it is 4th and inches, millimetrically close. The referees look like they're going to reconsider spotting it. They're going to bring out the chain gang. And we'll see if DeCaney's long reach was enough to give him the 1st down. It's a close one for sure. They will not give it to him. 4th and 1.
This is certainly a reasonable distance to cover for the Red Rams. Very short to go, but Auburn's going to be expecting that run inside. They're going to be right there to try to stop it. So right now it seems it's going to be whoever wants it more is going to get what they want here. Either a 1st down or something else.
4-3 defense lined up. They're going to try to force their way in. Do they get it? They're holding on. It looks like it did get more position than before. Made its way up to that yellow line out there.
was a great hustle play by Payne, pushing through several defenders trying to push back on him. Just fell behind his offensive line and tried to go as far as he could, and it was enough.
So it's 1st and goal now. Payne, quick handoff to DeCaney, who immediately falls down. 2nd down. And Payne almost came off the field, but now they're going to keep him in. This is the Red Rams' first trip to the red zone, although you would think technically the whole field is the red zone when they're the Red Rams.
I believe they might have been in the red zone last possession when they tried to throw that pass up to Caleb Smith in the end zone, but it was very close. It was right around the 20-yard line, but now they're inside the 10.
Payne scrambling to his right, takes it himself, cuts through, touchdown! Replay.
What we saw there was Marcus Payne, like we said at the very beginning of the game, he has this innate ability to avoid being tackled. He might not be the biggest, the strongest, or the fastest, but he just has an ability to work his way out of a potential tackle, and did that all the way into the end zone.
Ethan Weiss for the extra point. He's got 99 problems, but a kick ain't one.
So some signs of life by the Red Rams, and they seem to have all the momentum here. If we look at the last 2 possessions for the Auburn Maroons on offense, it's been a fumble and it's been an interception. So Jamesville-DeWitt's defense has all the momentum in the world right now. If they can force a 3rd turnover, this is going to be a heck of a game.
The Maroons only 3 first downs in this game so far compared to 6 for the Red Rams, who have been able to keep fighting in their possessions. The Maroons, of course, scored both of their touchdowns, one off of a pick 6, one after a run of 40-plus yards. So they haven't really needed first downs. But the ball is in the Red Rams' court, metaphorically speaking. They're about to give it away, but that's what a kickoff after a touchdown does. Looks like it's going to be Max McCall who's going to get to kick it off instead of Weiss. So Mo Hajar, you get your wish. Falls off the tee, though. There's a little bit of wind out there, but nothing too terrible.
Nothing big enough to stop Ethan Weiss's extra point on that last point after.
It is blowing towards that left end zone. I don't know if that's west or whatever.
I don't have a compass on me, so I don't know either.
Kick from McCall. We'll get past to the 10-yard line. And the Maroons are quickly forced backwards. They won't even make it to the 15.
That was a great kick by McCall. Took a great roll, and immediately Goldsmith was surrounded by several Red Rams. He couldn't get out of there.
You know, Max McCall led the soccer team in goals, and if he came out here with a goal in mind, that was exactly what he wanted. First and 10 on the 18 for the Maroons. It is 16-7. You know, last year the Maroons averaged 33.4 points per game, but they averaged 34.2 points against, mostly thanks to some blowouts against Carthage and Indian River. As the pitches nearly bobbled, they'll only get a yard or two out of it.
And that bobble led to a pretty early tackle there by DeCaney. That was the first time I've seen Benson taken down so quickly. We've talked about it several times already. It's a very, very momentum-based sport, and right now Jamesville-DeWitt has just scored. They've had a good offensive possession before, and they've forced 2 turnovers.
The Red Rams starting to read the offense of the Auburn Maroons, and once you pick up on that game plan, everything can change as Cherney will hand it off. Another inside run, maybe 2 yards. That one taken by Jeremiah Phillips. In 2019, he was a Section 3 second team selection. We take another look at the play a little earlier.
For the first time all day, we're going to see a third and reasonably long distance for the Maroons. It feels like it's been either a first down or a touchdown or a turnover from them. So we'll see what they do in this situation. They might have to throw it because I don't know if they can get this yardage on a run.
3rd and 6, but Cherney 10 for 15 on throws this season. He goes for a run, and they're going to get the yardage. They're going to get more than that yardage. It is Benson. Guess who else? He's going all the way.
And I stand corrected. They were confident to go back to Benson, and he was confident enough to run all the way to the end zone and score a touchdown.
Benson, Elijah Benson, yet another touchdown today. 22-7. He is just en fuego.
Like we were talking about earlier, they don't have, the Auburn offense hasn't been putting up a first down, then a few yards, then another first down. They've been having these big plays where they'll just tumble all the way down the field, and that's what they're relying on. But it's working. A lot of teams, they want to play it safe. They want to, get a first down, get a few yards at a time, but they're not afraid to just rely on those big, star-studded plays that they've been getting from Benson.
Good 60, 70 yards on that run as Cherney will line up for yet another two-point conversion attempt. In the eye. Looking for a pass. Fakes out Cluis, intercepted. And it seems that little bit of a delay was all that was needed for Jamison McLaughlin to bring down the interception. Ryan Cluis throwing Cherney off of his game.
And I didn't see what, but there was some sort of penalty called on Auburn there as well after that play.
Although it looks like a referee just needs to tie his shoe. There was a hold.
And the Red Rams will decline that penalty. There won't be another attempt, and they'll get the ball back on the kickoff. They really wanted to return that interception for a two-point conversion of their own, but I think they're just happy that the Maroons didn't add to their lead that they already have.
And you have to be happy that Jamison McLaughlin, the three-sport athlete, is really carving a niche for himself here on defense. Under 3 minutes 30 left in the first half here. It is 22-7. The kickoff coming from the man of the hour, Elijah Benson. Referees doing referee things, making sure that the ball is properly in the placeholder, in the tee, whatever you want to call it. What do you call it?
Usually you call it a kicking tee.
Okay, guess what? We get to put up that graphic for the first time today. There we go. Yeah, we knew we were going to get use out of that one. We like to have fun here.
We do like to have fun, and we'll probably be seeing that graphic quite a few more times today, but that's okay because we're all trying our best. We're all getting used to new sports.
Just wait for lacrosse season. I think I'm gonna recycle that, and I'll Photoshop a little stick into my hands or something. Anyway, Benson back for the kickoff. The best kick we've seen from him so far, though taken out of the air by Smith. And a chop block right at the 38 or 39.
There's a great tackle there by number 6, Demetrius Herndon. Just chopped down right to the legs.
That's Herndon's second tackle of the season, though he had 20 in 2019. So it's 1st and 10 on the 39.
And for the first time today, we'll see a quarterback take 2 possessions in a row. This is Marcus Payne's second possession in a row, but they scored a touchdown last time, so I don't really know if you can blame them.
Yeah, once you figure out what works, you got to go to it. And of course, Caton's going to get plenty of snaps. He's just a freshman. Hand off to Smith. Smith taken down at the waist. That was number 33, Jeremiah Phillips.
Might have lost yardage there, but he had the good vision to cut back inside and make something out of nothing.
You can take another look at it. Caleb Smith cutting to his left and just overpowered. Neither of those players particularly large. Smith 5'9", 155. Phillips 5'9", 163, so an even size matchup. Handoff to DeCaney. Ball pops loose. Auburn ball.
It was a great recovery there by Matt Donovan, the junior. The ball just popped out. I think a helmet hit the ball and popped it right out of Nick DeCaney's hands, and great heads-up play by Donovan to fall right onto it.
Matt Donovan tied for 3rd in Section 3 in sacks after Week 1, and now he's got a fumble to add to his resume. The football gods giveth, and they taketh away. First and 10 on the 45 for the Maroons. The Maroons favoring that I formation. Goes to Benson. Tries to cut right. Takes 3 guys to bring him down at the 40-yard line.
Fought for a few extra yards there, just so big and powerful.
Someone in the comments says, if only Auburn had a kicker like Max McCall, then they wouldn't have to go for 2. Well, actually, it's very interesting, the kicker situation, because Auburn's kicker is the first female player in the school's history, Amelia Bartolotta. She was 0 for 1 in extra point attempts in Week 1, so it is possible that today we may see the first point ever scored by a female player in Auburn's history. Quick pitch by Charney. Going the opposite ways, and that'll be at least close to a first down for Deshaun Strachan.
Great heads-up play there. You saw a little bit of agility and footwork there. Just great footwork to juke his way out of the tackle. So Strachan showing off his skill there, getting a few extra yards. Cluis just couldn't catch up.
And by the way, while we're talking about Amelia Bartolotta, of course, also on the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams, Lily Hadley, the senior wide receiver, the first female player, varsity player in JD history. We can take a little bit more on those fast facts later. As Charney looks to take it himself, he'll run out of bounds, get 4 or 5 yards out of it. You know, the amazing thing about Charney's performance in Week 1, where he threw for 188 yards and ran for 66, is he actually injured his ankle midway through the game. He was still able to put up those kinds of numbers. Red Rams have to be wondering if he's back to full form. It certainly appears to be.
And for Auburn, it's been a game of big plays. They've had a few big turnovers on their end, but they've forced a few big turnovers, had a pick six, had 2 long running touchdowns. So we might see another one right here.
Benson breaks a tackle, avoids another. And Caleb Smith will force him out of bounds just shy of the end zone. It is first and just a couple of yards to the end zone. I know that's first and goal, but it's pretty close. You don't have to throw up the graphic this time. This time I knew what I was saying.
I think that was borderline, but we'll let it slide for today. It's the first game.
You know, do we want to put it up anyway?
I think we're good for now.
Okay, we'll save it for the occasions where we really need it.
One thing we want to look at, though, is the clock here. Auburn has plenty of time to work with. They only have 6 yards to go with a minute left, so we'll see how much time JD gets to maybe punch one in before halftime.
Cherney with a handoff. And it looks like he'll cross the line. Touchdown. Give that one to Davari Agee.
And the Jamesville-DeWitt defense has been out there for quite a while in this second quarter. They might be getting a little bit tired, which is where that size and strength becomes such an advantage for the Maroons.
Davari Agee, Section 3 second-team selection in 2019. He averaged 7.4 yards per carry and put up 7 touchdowns in 2019. He can add one today. Another two-point conversion attempt, split backs. Handoff by Cherney. And Agee gets the two-point conversion as well, doing it all himself. It is 30-7. 1:03 remaining in the first half. The Auburn Maroons just cruising in the HOV lane right now.
Still a minute left. Still some time for the Rams to put some points on the board. They're looking for any way they can to get back in this game and make it interesting. I think even if they don't score here, putting up some big yards in this last minute of play would really help them feel better about themselves going into that second half.
Well, that's kind of the problem with the Red Rams' play style. They are not a big play kind of team. They fight and scratch and claw to get those first downs, and they do get them, but it takes up so much more time, and having so many more plays opens up more mistakes. So the deck seems to be stacked against the Red Rams here, but there's still plenty of football to go, an entire second half coming up. And there have certainly been points where we have seen this is a close game. More evenly matched than you might think based on the score. Benson lines up for the kickoff. He certainly is warming up. That one falls right at the 10. That's Santos. Almost looked like a horse collar. We'll take another look at it. So it looks like that was likely Jake Ogata with the kick return, changing the number from 47 to 24. So if you're keeping score at home, want to adjust your scorebooks. And if you're keeping score at home right now, we admire your dedication, but question your sanity. Handoff by Payne, fighting through. 45 seconds left or so. And you can feel the air coming out of the JD Stadium. It looks like the Red Rams want to regroup in the second half.
They're not going to try to force a big play here and open themselves up to another potential big mistake right before the half. I think they just want to get one or two more plays in rhythm and, like you said, get into the half.
DeCaney takes it with the split backs. Or was it was Payne. I was fooled by the fake handoff. Hey, it's taken me this long. Should have seen me last season. 3rd and 4, 4 seconds, they're going to the half. So after one half of play, the Auburn Maroons lead over the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams, 30-7. Tyler, what are your takeaways so far?
I think my takeaways are it's been an interesting half. I think Benson has been the absolute star of the show here with his big runs, big touchdowns, and big play style in general. I do want to remind the viewers that we're about 3 or 4 plays away from this being a one-possession game. An unlucky pick six and 2 big runs by Benson. If JD can clean up those little mistakes, they make a tackle here, a tackle there, they're totally in this game. So definitely not the start that they want, and they've got a lot to clean up, but it's certainly a game that they can get back into.
It ain't over till it's over. As the Jamesville-DeWitt cheerleaders will take the field, we'll be back in 9.5 minutes with the start of this second half. Sam Gelfand and Tyler Aitken here for JDTV. Thank you so very much for joining us here live on YouTube. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Jamesville-DeWitt Central High School here in DeWitt, New York, as we thought the clock was just about to count down for halftime, but they just added 3 minutes onto it, just as it hit 0. But it's okay. We've still got a couple things to talk about here as the Red Rams are currently trailing the Auburn Maroons 30-7. Let's take a quick look at how these two teams did in the 2019 season, which is the last time we got to see them before now. The Red Rams had a record of 1-6. The Maroons 7-4. They actually, though they did not win the sectional title, they did make it all the way to the state quarterfinal game. The Maroons averaged more points per game and points allowed. That discrepancy, where they allowed more actually, is just because of a couple of blowouts against Indian River and Carthage, two of the top teams in Section 3 Class A, though they did beat Indian River in the sectional semifinals. The Maroons have a more balanced pass and run attack than the Red Rams. The Red Rams last year ran it 85% of the time, 62% of the time for the Auburn Maroons, and their completion percentage a good 150 more.
I think Auburn definitely had a better year last year. I think we have to remember the Red Rams had a rebuilding season last year. They were in a developmental league to try to work on and rebuild the program, and I think we're seeing effects of that right now. They're certainly playing better this year than they were last year, so I think there's a lot of bright spots, a lot of great younger players on this team that give Red Rams fans a lot to hope about.
And the Red Rams only fielded 9 returning players from that 2019 season. The large majority of this 44-man roster is brand new. There's about a minute left. So in the meantime, before the game gets back underway, I'd like to remind you that today's game is brought to you by the Jamesville-DeWitt Rampage. The Rampage is a fully online student-run newspaper which covers news, sports, culture, and everything in between. Even the current state of world affairs can't prevent the Rampage from bringing you the Jamesville-DeWitt news and stories you care about. So stay up to date on all things JD. Make sure to check out jdrampage.org. That's www.jdrampage.org. In fact, Tyler, your last article was about Lily Hadley, the first female player in Jamesville-DeWitt history. We haven't seen her get any action on the field yet, but even just being here, she has already made history.
There have been a few JV modified freshman players who have been girls, and they've really blazed a trail for Lily Hadley to follow, but being the first play, at least that coaches know about in the past few decades, to be on the varsity team is such an impressive feat. You know, she's wanted to join the team for a while, but she plays gymnastics, which is in the same season, but now that gymnastics and football are in different seasons, it gave her the opportunity to do both this year, which is, I think, a really great opportunity for her, and I think it sends a greater, broader message.
And, you know, I really like the quote that she said in your article, "You'll be happier when you follow the path you set for yourself." Really empowering words.
I agree. I think it's a message that I think everyone can keep in mind, and I think that really goes along with football, you know, kind of don't be afraid to do what makes you happy, and yeah, I just think it's a really great message and so profound for a senior in high school to be able to understand.
So Max McCall will kick things off for the Red Rams to start the second half. Rolls past the 10-yard line once again. It's Zilmar Goldsmith who gets a hand on it. He breaks a tackle, running all the way to his right. Going sideline to sideline, finally taken down.
And Veer Bolotov, great job on that tackle, chasing him down. Could have been a lot worse if he made it all the way around the right end into the sideline. So, good job by Bolotov.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Maroons on the 18-yard line to start the third quarter. Now, of course, we had a 13-minute halftime, and the question always becomes, will the momentum of the first half carry over to the second? That goes for both teams here.
I think we'll see likely with these first few plays what's happening on JD defense and if they can get the stops that they need against Benson.
Quick pitch. Outside run. Already past the 50, and Benson collecting even more yards.
Seems like he's picking up just where he left off.
Benson collects yards like Superman collects weird creatures in his Fortress of Solitude. I don't know, if you got a better metaphor, please drop it in the comments. Like Maxwell McCall collects goals? He had 5 in 11 games. So 1st and 10 at the 45, Cherney with another handoff to Benson. This time he loses his balance. 2nd and 5. Second and 6 they will rule it. He didn't quite reach the 50-yard line. It is a beautiful day for football, by the way. Not a cloud in the sky. Well, there's one wispy one.
One wispy one, but great weather. Not too much wind. It seems it's a very fall-like day, which is fitting since we're playing a fall sport right now.
And Benson finally falls about the 43. Yet another first down for Benson.
We sound like a broken record sometimes talking about how he's been playing offense.
You know, we could save us some trouble and just record ourselves, just put it up to the mics.
He's going off the field for this play, though, so we'll see who they go to here.
Well, you're up 30-7. You can afford to try some new things. Cherney still lined up in the eye. And it's the same play as usual. This time to Leon Atkins. Atkins is actually listed as a wide receiver. Darrell Overstreet, 9, not 3. That's Overstreet's first action of the season. 3, 9, what's the difference?
About 6, I think, if I did my math correctly.
About. And don't ask me to do the math. 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 2nd and 6, handoff up the middle. Dodging and weaving Jeremiah Phillips. Could go all the way, and he does. Another touchdown.
If we look at this play again, look at this agility right there, dodging 2 tacklers on the Red Rams. What a play by Phillips.
That is the very definition of field vision right there. No wonder he was a Section 3 second team selection in 2019.
Seems like he has eyes on the back of his head the way he saw Caleb Smith and Dante Santos chasing him from 2 directions.
And now we're going to see Amelia Bartolotta go for her 2nd extra point attempt of the season. The Mercyhurst University commit gets the snap. And ladies and gentlemen, history has not been made. She is 0 for 2 this season. If things are coming in fuzzy for you at home, we do apologize. We have to run this broadcast off of Wi-Fi right now, as the Ethernet is not available in the press box yet. However, we're also recording it, and we will put up a nice, fresh, and crystal clear copy of this game once the game is over, so you'll be able to watch it in all the sparkling high definition and high fidelity audio. Because trust me, these are nice mics. We spent a lot of time working on this setup. Yeah. Ryan Brazel has joined the conversation, saying put Max McCall back in. Love to see the soccer team sticking together as Benson with the kickoff. Ogata with the return, cutting right. taken from behind at the 25.
And another great tackle there by number 6, Demetrius Herndon. He's had a few great special teams plays, very good hustle, chasing down the kick returner.
It is 1st and 10 on the 26-yard line for the Red Rams. And they're going to keep Marcus Payne in the game. Lined up in the shotgun, handoff is faked, and Payne sacked for a loss. Guess who it was? It was Mahoonic.
Also credit to Matt Donovan getting in there on the sack as well. They kind of sandwiched him in between them. Great tackle, great sack.
You know, Connor Mahoonic, that is his 4th sack of the season, still leading Section 3. Some people in football kind of worship the quarterback. This guy is sacrilegious. Payne with the handoff. Running right, but not too far. 3rd down and long. Third and 10. Have to imagine it's a little demoralizing when you get to 3rd down and you had to get back to where you started.
A little bit, but I think JD at this point is just trying to work through their offensive plays, see what they have available to them, and I understand they're not happy about that, but I think they're just kind of like looking to make the most out of their situation. They're down 29 points right now, so I think that's the least of their worries.
High snap. Payne pass is swatted. Some late hits. It was ruled an incomplete pass. They played as if the ball was live, and frankly, some not quite sportsmanlike tackles coming from Auburn at the end of it. So we'll take another look. Punting formation. It's McCall. Red Rams will let it roll to the 38. And the Auburn Maroons will once again take over on offense. You know, Auburn has certainly put together a lot of talent on the field, but a lot of their success you also have to tack up to their head coach, Dave Moskow. Under the egg. The egg.
It was already up there.
Moskow?
Yeah.
Put that up?
It was up.
It was up?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. All right, well, Cherney is also out of his element. And that's Nick DeCaney with the sack. Our favorite player. Nick DeCaney doing it on both sides of the ball. You know, I got to agree with Mohajari in the comments. The defense is looking a little shaky. They need a leader in the secondary like Max McCall.
Seems to be a fan favorite. I wonder why.
Nick DeCaney and Max McCall are stars of the game, it seems. Pitch outward. And 4 men will prevent much from happening on that run.
Koberger and King did a good job chasing him down, stopping him before he was able to make any progress. 3rd and 18 is a tall order for this Maroons offense.
That was Darrell Overstreet with a carry. 3rd and 16 according to the scoreboard. This is the longest distance the Maroons have had to make up this entire game. The Maroons taking their time, of course. They have a large lead. They'll go with a handoff to Overstreet once again. Sheds a tackle. Will get a few yards, but it's not going to be enough.
Lewis was the one that finally brought him down there. He's made a few great plays on defense, had an interception earlier, and now getting involved in some key tackles that will force a 4th down and likely a punt here.
The Red Rams have talent on this squad, but Auburn is the number 2 team in Section 3 Class A. A fact we cannot escape here. Bad snap on the punt. They'll get it off anyway. That was Robert Morris. It will roll to about the 27. Well, this certainly has been a game. There are 2 teams. The football is moving up and down.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to look at here. The Jamesville-DeWitt offense kind of like experimenting in that first half, going back and forth between Caton and Payne, seems to have decided on Payne here for the time being. And, you know, he's shown some strides as a passer, and they haven't been allowing him to do that all that often. I'd be surprised if they didn't kind of let him unleash his cannon a little bit more in the second half. He had 2 very good throws in the first half, one for a long first down, one for almost a touchdown. So we'll see what happens.
And you say that, but Cade Caton just having some conversations with Coach Ormond on the sidelines. He may be thinking about putting him into the game again. After all, down by 29, why not experiment? Split backs lined up for the Red Rams. Hand off to DeCaney, who will get a couple more yards. And we have an injured player on the field. We're looking to get confirmation on the number. Looks like both athletic trainers, Dave Schultz for JD and Frank Walzak for Auburn, are attending to the player currently. Player is sitting up. It's good news. Looks like it could be a leg injury. That appears to be Tremont Daniels. Tremont Daniels limps off the field, but he's able to go off on his own power, so that's good news. Injuries, unfortunately, a part of the game in football. We're just happy that he's at least relatively okay. So the Red Rams have 3rd and 5 at the 32-yard line, 4:50 left in the third quarter. Hand off by Payne, stuffed up the middle, and it's 4th down. Are you surprised they're not going for it?
Not really. There's still over 15 minutes left in this game. I think with how Auburn's offense has looked, I don't think you allow them to take the ball at the 33-yard line for what would be a very good field position. So I'm not too surprised at all that they're punting it here.
McCall sends it to the 35. Shedding tackles. Looks like that was Deshaun Strachan with the return.
Did a great job, was able to make 2 defenders miss big tackles, and didn't get too much more yardage there, but probably will be a lot less sore after those jukes.
36-7 is the score. Hold on. JD recovered the punt.
So what must have happened, because JD can't just pick up the ball.
Let's take another look.
So, yeah.
Looks like the ball might have gotten loose at the end there.
So there was a muffed punt by Auburn. Lucky break for the Rams. And it's still 2nd and 10 after almost no yards picked up.
Nick DeCaney doing his best. They're, 2nd and 9 now. They're still sending him up the middle. At this point, you got to start thinking, do you change up the playbook a little bit?
Like I said, I think they need to look to throw more with Payne up there. He's a perfectly capable throwing quarterback.
This time lined up in the shotgun. Payne takes it himself, rolls left, sees a hole, gets all the way to the 29. Tackle by Makai Bailey, but it's a Red Rams first down.
As I say, they should have him throw it more. He runs for a first down, and I think that just shows his versatility. He has a lot of skills that the Red Rams can rely on, so great job weaving in between the tackles.
Shows his versatility and our lack of a Tony Romo-esque, Nostradamus-like
Well, I'm just saying what I
quality.
want to see, not what I think is going to happen, because I could never predict this.
And this time Payne takes it up himself for 2 or 3 yards. Have to imagine at least 1 touchdown would be a great moral equalizer for the Red Rams.
I think they'll feel a lot better if they can put points on the board this drive, and they're within the 30-yard line. They've showed some flashes over the past few minutes, so I certainly think it's a feasible goal.
Once again, we appreciate all of you watching along here on JDTV, live on YouTube. We know the quality might not be coming in quite as we would like, as the Wi-Fi here is not the quickest. We appreciate you sticking with us. Payne looking to pass, slings it downfield, and perhaps under the pressure, he didn't quite get the look he wanted.
So what happened there, I'm almost positive, is that there was a miscommunication on the route between the quarterback and the wide receiver. It looked like it was number 81 from the Rams.
All right, someone switched their number again.
Someone switched the numbers, but it seemed like there was a little bit of a miscommunication between Payne and number 81 on who was going where, but not going to blame either of those athletes. It's always tough to make the communication on the play, but I don't think he threw it that far off there.
And this time over the head of Caleb Smith, so 2 missed throws in a row for Marcus Payne. Makes it 4th and 9 on the 28. And it looks like the Red Rams want to go for it.
And they're throwing in Cade Caton to likely take a throw and try to get this first down here.
Well, we saw in the scrimmage against Cortland, he slung it for a couple of 30, 40-yard touchdown passes. And at 6'5", 220, he's someone who does not go down easily. Rolls to his right. Mahoonic already there. Nearly picked off over the head of his intended receiver, Carter King. It's a turnover, 1st and 10. But good job by Caton avoiding Mahoonic, who is the quarterback hunter.
He's probably going to be very happy later on that he didn't get that sack there, because those sacks by
Mahoonic,
those
number
sacks
88.
by Mahoonic, those sacks by Mahoonic can definitely hurt. So didn't get the first down, but showed some agility getting out of the pocket and escaping that potential sack.
You know, Cade Caton's father is actually SU's assistant strength and conditioning coach for the football team, and clearly he's in pretty good shape here. He's actually been lifting weights with his family since he was age 9. So the Maroons back on offense. Quick handoff. Pushed out of bounds by Carter King. Robert Morris on the carry there for the Auburn Maroons. Second and 6 for the Maroons. Four receivers out, lined up in the shotgun. And it looks like a timeout is taken by the Auburn Maroons. There's a communication issue. I think they had to in that scenario.
They didn't want to take the 5-yard delay of game penalty, so they'll be happy to use one of their timeouts here.
They're comfortable. They can do so if they want. So let's talk about perhaps the most talked about player in this game besides Elijah Benson, Max McCall. As we mentioned, the top goal scorer for the JD soccer team, who captured an SCAC Empire Conference championship. He scored 5 goals in 11 games, which in soccer is really fantastic. Also plays second base and is an outfielder for the baseball team. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you a couple of those games later on in the spring. Enjoys history class and playing Xbox, and he is a future business major, though he is not sure which college he wants to go to yet.
Also seems to be maybe the fan favorite in this game. Got a lot of attention in that comment section so far, so he's been doing a decent job punting and kicking off the ball, so we'll likely see him on the field a few more times today.
Of course, this is an opportunity afforded to him by the strange season setup as a soccer player. Usually he is playing soccer in the fall, isn't able to join the football team, can't have 2 sports going on at one time. But he is certainly a presence that the Red Rams football team is appreciating right now, as it's 3rd and 5 for the Maroons. The Red Rams know what they're doing. It's up to the Maroons right now, who are winding this clock out.
Going deep into the playbook here, trying to probably try out some new plays for later in the season. You always want to use this opportunity as they have an end around here. Jet sweep.
Jet sweep from the Auburn Maroons, taken all the way to the 45. That's Deshaun Strachan. Take another look at it. No one there in the backfield. Red Rams forced to scramble.
Totally caught the defense off guard there, going to a little bit of an unconventional play setup, but Strachan did a great job selling that and making some yardage off of it.
Yet another first down for the Auburn Maroons. There's 56 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Strachan in week 1 had 1 carry, but 7 receptions for 82 yards total. Caught 1 touchdown pass. Fake handoff, Cherney thinking about taking it himself. Tosses it on the run, incomplete pass. Second and 10 on the 48. The Red Rams favoring a... Was it 4-3 or 3-4 if you got 3 men lined up at the line?
So it's a 3-4 if you have 3 men lined up on the line of scrimmage here.
That's what I thought, as Cherney slings it. Caught by Strachan. 2 men there to take him down. That's King and Sam Smith, who cooperate on the tackle. Great throw by Troy Cherney.
Sam Smith, the only 4-sport athlete on the team. He typically runs all 3 seasons, but with this 4th Winter 2 season added in, he's been able to do 4 sports this year. Ran cross country in the fall, did indoor track in the winter, is doing football right now, and will be a lead member of that outdoor track team in the spring.
I think we'll talk about that once the quarter expires. Guess what? We got a graphic for that, too. They're going to let the clock run out as we are now in between the third and fourth quarter. The Auburn Maroons still lead 36-7 over your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. We appreciate you joining us here on JDTV. So yeah, we were just talking about Sam Smith, and we're going. There we are. That's the right one. You know, there are tons of multi-sport athletes on the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. 33 multi-sport athletes out of the 44 players on the roster. 23 of them play 2 sports, 9 of them play 3 sports, and Sam Smith, the only 4-sport athlete on the team, which is really just an impressive feat. Yep. And here they are individually, all the 3- and 4-sport athletes for the Red Rams. The shoes are different running events, usually indoor and outdoor track.
Yep, you see a lot of, well, obviously you see every football player, and then you see a lot of variety. We see swimming, running, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, even golf. A lot of variety within this football team. Not typically something you would see on a football team, this much kind of variety and willingness to try other sports.
Like Braden McVicker, for instance, he's playing football, swimming, and outdoor track. That is certainly an eclectic mix. Gotta love seeing people willing to try new and different things. And of course, the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams very proud of their Scholar Athlete program as well. Most of these teams maintaining a 3.0 GPA or higher.
I believe last year it was 23 of the 26 sports teams at Jamesville-DeWitt earned that honor. So that's a very high percentage, an extremely high percentage of success on and off the field for the Red Rams.
Which, of course, this is high school. That success off the field matters just as much, if not more, than what we see on the field.
We do call them student athletes and not athlete students. So,
well done. There you go. As we're about to start the fourth quarter, Cherney with the pass. Looks a little lateral. And eventually taken out of bounds. That was Deshaun Strachan with yet another reception. We'll take another look.
And one thing I want to point here is Robert Morris, number 27, made an absolute pancake block right at the 40-yard line, which opened up probably 10 extra yards for Strachan to run. So, although it was very good agility and great play by Strachan, I think some of these blocks by the other wide receivers have really helped the Maroons out. So, Robert Morris, very, very good block there.
The Maroons just killing time they can afford to. In the shotgun, 3 receivers on the right side. Cherney downfield. Nearly intercepted. Brendan Koberger, he's got to be happy about his ability to track that ball. Not quite so happy about the fact that he couldn't trap it. But even so, that's what a cornerback's supposed to do.
Breaking up the pass is always the number one kind of goal of a cornerback. If he was in the mindset of playing wide receiver like he does on the other side of the ball, he probably would have been more worried about coming down with it. But just making sure that wasn't a touchdown was impressive enough.
It was an impressive throw by Cherney, but a great job by Brendan Koberger. Once again, lined up in the shotgun. 1 receiver in motion. It's handed off. And the Red Rams will have to use numbers in order to get Robert Morris down to the ground. The Red Rams not a big hit team. Not enough big players to make those big hits. Of course, at the high school level, part of the prerogative of these coaches is to teach proper tackling technique. Do it in a way that's safest for everyone, make sure no one gets hurt.
Obviously, you can't completely eliminate injuries, but teaching these defensive players not to lead with the head, where to wrap up the defender, it's all just as important as bring the guy down in general, because you want to be safe about it, because
you build the fundamentals now, and then it pays off later. Fake handoff this time, and Cherney takes it himself. Breaking left, he's got another touchdown. And where did that camera go? There we go.
Finally back, but what a run by Cherney. Had the vision there to weave all the way to the left side around every single defender there.
Did it cut off
in for another touchdown
run? So I think that was 2 different Auburn touchdowns that we have conveniently dropped. I swear it's a coincidence, folks. But it's 42-7.
Amelia Bartolotta taking another attempt at maybe making the first point for a girl in Auburn football history.
120-plus years for Auburn. Their first female player ever. The soccer standout looks to take the snap. This one is blocked by the Red Rams. And Bartolotta is 0 for 3 on extra point attempts this season.
Didn't get much help from her blockers there. Jamesville-DeWitt absolutely able to swarm in and get some hands on that ball before it went up through the uprights.
You know, Bartolotta was 8 for 10 during scrimmages when it came to extra point attempts, so as you mentioned, it could just be an offensive line issue. As now we prepare for the kickoff, it's 42-7. The Red Rams in dire straits. Bit of a daunting distance away from victory. Not impossible. Never say never. Ain't over till it's over.
I do think right now that the biggest focus for the Red Rams is getting some reps for their guys, trying new plays, getting their chemistry working even better. I think there's absolutely still things that they can take away from this game and take out of these last 10 minutes. It's certainly not a waste, no matter what the final score will end up being.
Of course, the Red Rams had to combine their junior varsity and varsity teams this season. So this is the time where a lot of those players who would normally be on JV get to take varsity reps. That is invaluable experience. In fact, experience that most players do not get. And it looks like they're going to move the kick backwards. There may have been a penalty. Once again, Sam Gelfand and Tyler Aitken on the call here for JDTV. And of course, this is all made possible because of viewers like you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Ogata drops it.
Luckily falls right back on it. Good heads-up play, and the Red Rams will retain possession.
It's not if you mess up, it's how you recover from it, and that is textbook right there, covering the ball with his body, making sure that he could not lose possession of it, preventing a fumble situation.
We're seeing Cade Caton come back on the field, so look for a little bit more passing, a little bit more vertical down the field action as he steps up to the line of scrimmage in shotgun formation.
His favorite formation, it seems. They're going 3-1 with the wide receivers. Five seconds on the play clock. Caton has to throw under pressure. This time, actually, it was not Mahoonic. That was Jack Pidlachak with the great pressure applied to the quarterback.
I don't know if someone missed their block or if they sent an extra blitzer, but he came right into the backfield, right past everybody else, and put immediate pressure on Caton to get rid of that ball.
But hey, as we've said before, Caton's 6'5", 220, especially in high school, that is not an easy man to bring down.
And as a freshman, he still probably has time to grow.
We could be talking someone 6'7", 6'8" by the time he's a senior. He already said he wants to go to a Power 5 school eventually. Slings it sidearm off the hands of Oscar Blair. You know, I think we could hear you slam the microphone down on the table, and I think that tells you everything that you need to know about how the Red Rams are playing right now.
I don't even think I meant to do that, but I do think there might be some symbolism there.
It's the old Keith Hernandez route, you know? You ever seen him in an extra inning games? He just sighs. Very excited for baseball season, and of course lacrosse coming up at the same time. Can't wait to bring you some of that here on JDTV. As Caton rolling right. Oh, what a hit! Snatched out of midair by Makai Bailey, emerging from the woodwork in dramatic fashion.
Caton thought about throwing it, but didn't have a single receiver open, had to bring it out himself, and immediately brought down.
Back to punting formation. It's 4th and 9 at the 39. McCall back out on the field. He's gotten plenty of reps today. Great snap, but not McCall's best punt.
Took a solid roll, though, and it's going to get
All the way
about
down
the
to
other 39-yard line.
Goes from 39 to 39. Not too bad on the roll. But hey, if McCall messes up one punt, I mean, he's made so many great ones in this game already. Your mic cord is twisted. There you go. 9:40 remains in this game. It's 1st and 10 on the 39 for the Auburn Maroons. And as we untangle the microphone cord up here in the booth, the Red Rams kind of untangling their thought process down on the field, trying to figure out what to take away from this and if they can get a few more points on the board before the game ends. Cherney with a handoff. And way to fight for it. It almost seemed like number 30, who is Davari Agee, just kind of stumbled for 10 yards and was able to move, looks like moved the chains.
Coaches always tell running backs, ball carriers, anyone who's going to be holding the ball, just keep your legs moving no matter what, and that's what he did, and it resulted in several extra yards there.
Good textbook play by Agee. Have to imagine Cherney's going to mostly be running. Long pitch this time. And a good leg pick from McLaughlin. McLaughlin silently putting together a nice little game on defense.
Several good tackles there. I think he definitely has the vision you need to be a successful inside linebacker.
Sweeps the leg, and now it's 2nd and 9. Ball spotted on the 50-yard line. 8:30 left in the game. Handoff by Cherney. This time it's Overstreet. Another first down. Clock restarts. We got 8 minutes left. This time Auburn lining up in the split backs. Haven't seen that yet today. And Cherney with a quick pass to his left side, immediately met. But hey, good reception for players number isn't on here, I don't think.
26. Santos?
Well, Dante Santos with the tackle. But it looks like it was number 35 with the catch. Don't see a 35 on this roster. Well, whoever you are, nice job. And another nice job by Overstreet with yet another first down.
Such a powerful runner. Like I said, he kept his legs moving through this contact here. Ran right over a defender, seemingly Caleb Smith for an extra few yards there.
Overstreet, 5'9", 183, and he is living proof that it is not size but technique that gets you where you need to go at the end of the day.
A lot of great runners, Goldsmith, Adi, Overstreet, Herndon, Phillips, Benson, all of them making a name for themselves today on that spectacular Maroons offense.
Cherney with a quick pass, and coming out of nowhere, a cruise missile, is Sam Smith.
Us cross-country runners not necessarily known for upper body strength, but that was a heck of a tackle by Smith.
Well, that was just pure momentum. He had the receiver looking like a deer in the headlights who had already been hit a couple of times at this point. You love to see it. And of course, if you love to see this game, let us know in the comments. We're still looking at them. Cherney lined up in the eye, handoff. That's AG, still fighting for it. Gets him within goal.
But those powerful hits like the one Sam Smith just had are the types of things you can still take away from this game as the second half of the fourth quarter is beginning to wind down.
Looks like the Red Rams needed a moment so someone could tie their shoe. I believe that's the opposite side of the field. I'm not even going to try to read that number, or else I'm just going to embarrass myself again.
We have that graphic to put up, don't worry.
That's true. Another run to AG. Fighting for it, dog pile. He is short of the end zone, but not by much. Second and inches. Cherney is 20 seconds on the play clock to kill. We knew this was going to happen. You should see the looks I'm getting in this booth. Cherney rolling, will he take it himself? And the camera cut out again! I swear we're not doing this! What is this? It's a touchdown! Oh, this cord is bothering us. It's 48-7 as we're going to be changing out cords for the next game.
Seems like whenever a Maroon rumbles into the end zone, it might rumble the stadium a bit too much that it shakes the cord out of place.
Could be, I think. I think the cord might be a Red Rams fan, just can't bear to see it.
We'll get to see Bartolota take another extra point attempt.
We'll call it like radio right now until we get the camera back. Bartolota is short. It's no good. 0 for 4. We apologize for the technical difficulties that we are getting. At least it's at the very last moment. As our camera seems to have gone down. It is 48-7. There we go. All right, we got it back. And of course, we talked about fixing the cord for next game, but join us next time on April 16th at 6 p.m. That's a Friday evening as the Red Rams will take on the Fayetteville Manlius Hornets in the second and final varsity home football game of the season. Should be a fun one as well. The Hornets always a formidable opponent.
Definitely a much larger school than Jamesville-DeWitt, a much closer school than Auburn is, so there's definitely a sense of a rivalry there. We'll get to see an emotional matchup.
Last year, the Fayetteville Manlius Hornets, the #1 program in Central New York, Red Rams #2. Ball knocked out of the hands of Ogata. We'll see who gets possession. It was a big hit. Ogata knocked into the middle of next week.
And let's take a minute to appreciate number 6 from the Auburn Maroons, Demetrius Herndon. Made 2 absolutely massive hits earlier on special teams, and right there, making a hit big enough to force the ball out. So that's the 3rd big special team play by Herndon, and credit to him.
And it's an Auburn ball now, 1st and 10 on the 22. If they hadn't already broken this thing wide open, they're looking to do so even more.
You know, a lot of people that watch football, they look at players who get interceptions, big sacks, they look at players who score touchdowns, but special teams players making just as big of an impact here, even causing the ball to change sides here.
And now as AG runs, Troy Cherney out of the game. It's Jack Pidlachak, the backup quarterback, taking snaps for the Maroons. If they hadn't already broken down the door, they're taking a sledgehammer to it now. Pidlachak, we've already seen him make a couple of impressive plays on defense. The 5'9", 160-pound junior, wisely winding out the clock. Hand off to AG, who does get stuffed.
Led again by McLaughlin, who's been a bright spot for this Rams defense. Several great tackles today.
McLaughlin did not play football last year, actually. He's a lacrosse player, and he's on the wrestling team, and decided to give football a shot this Fall 2 season. And he's been doing so to success.
A goalie on the lacrosse team, he's not afraid to get physical in whatever sport he's playing.
Well, you'd think if he was a wrestler, he would not be afraid to get physical.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's great to see the Red Rams fighting to the bitter end. So that end does seem to be bitter so far. Pidlachak has 5 seconds. Milks it for all it's worth. Pitch to Overstreet. Breaks a tackle. And this time it's King who brings him down. You know, Carter King is half Canadian.
I did not know that.
That has no bearing on anything. I just thought I'd put it out there.
You know, Canadians are often seen as very nice people, but that was a pretty hard hit. Certainly,
that's true.
Wasn't a nice hit right there.
Well, of course, there is Canadian football. Toronto Argonauts and whatnot. Pidlachak really milking this clock. He's already taken 2 minutes off in just this drive. Overstreet fighting for all it's worth. It'll ultimately be Cluis who brings him down, but that was a group effort. 2 minutes remaining. No 2-minute warning here. I mean, Auburn is winning by 41 points.
They just don't have 2-minute warnings in general in high school football, so.
But even if they did, no use calling one. Idlichak really taking his time. Mark of a good quarterback. 10 seconds, and he's going to wait till it's at 1 or 2. Another handoff to A.G., who fights for another touchdown. And this one's getting ugly.
Interesting decision to score there. They might have just been able to kneel it out, but you want to get... I think when there's so many people on your team that you still want to give them opportunities, they just want to let everyone